You may well be right, but it is not evidence, and one of the points that Lord Goldsmith made was that he had asked the Americans for actual evidence that the French had conceded this and was disappointed that they were unable to provide it. The question in my mind, I suppose, when I heard that, was, would you get an awful lot of evidence of that sort during the course of the negotiation? Is this the sort of thing that would only be found by comparing texts?
I think it is difficult to see how you would get that sort of definitive evidence. I mean, part of the difficulty with 1441, indeed part of the difficulty with the revival argument at all, is that it is almost, because of where it is happening, it is not susceptible of judicial determination. So questions as to what evidence could you bring forward become interesting but academic. To me, I think. I'm not in any way downplaying the difficulties of the UK/US position in what we were trying to maintain, but I do feel that there was an integrity to our position. I think we made clear what we were about, partly based on 1205 and earlier precedents, but in the negotiations itself we made clear what we were about. I think 1441 is, to those who know or knew the background, 1205 and earlier versions and earlier discussions in New York, 1441 is packed with evidence for the revival argument, and I think, given the explanations being made at the time in the course of the negotiations and subsequently, what we said to our opposite number, at every level, the ministerial level and below, I think our position was clear. I think in that sense there is an integrity to the British and American position on 1441, it stands up in that sense.
Sir Jeremy told us, very much agreeing with what you have just said, that he thought the position was legal, but he questioned the legitimacy. You may want to comment on that. He also said that diplomacy succeeded in finding ways to reconcile in a text two positions that possibly were in some ways irreconcilable and, in a sense, diplomacy got too clever. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. The legality, the legitimacy, is an interesting philosophical argument. I think what would have happened if the inspectors had found WMD at any time in that first few months, I suspect that we would be doing different things this afternoon, certainly if they had found anything like what was expected, that we had expected to find. Again, it is not evidence, but you. Skimming through the telegrams and reports, it is interesting how we quite frequently see people saying we are not really in favor of military action at the moment, but if the inspectors find WMD, then everything changes. So what would have happened then? Well, who knows?
That goes in a sense to the problem of material breach, which is that Iraq was in material breach in terms of compliance with the resolutions, but people had in their minds possibly something quite different in terms of a trigger for war.
Possibly, yes.
Thank you very much.